Hi guys, welcome to our channel, August Love Story. You're listening to August Love Story, the podcast. Today we are talking about finances, the age-old debate. Should a man provide all the bills, pay all the bills, and everything for the household? And that's providing. It's definitely a touchy subject for me. I don't know why, but it is. And we're just doing a great debate on, and I get to get some things off my chest, I guess. But before we get started, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get all the notifications for...
hit the bell.
Hit the bell. Get all the notifications for...
Like push.
Or whatever. You know what I mean. Get our notifications for when we do upload a video. And yeah. So let's get started. So finances in the Townsend household. Finances is such a huge topic and been one for this past week.
I feel like if you look at every video where we talk about finances, I'm always rolling my eyes.
Right.
I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna be like a black mama and be like, fix your face. So I'm gonna fix my face.
Please do.
I'm trying.
All right, bet. Why is this such a... Well, I kind of understand why it's a big deal.
Let's ask why you're triggered.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm triggered by it, but I just don't.
Let's have a little bit of therapy here.
I just feel like, like the thing is, or the big debate is, should men take care of everything in the household, right? Okay. Am I correct or wrong?
That's the big deal with you. Okay. Or the big overreaching.
Right,
you
right.
And Naya.
Right. But
and if y'all don't know who Naya is, she is from the TV show Ready to Love, which is one of the shows that we review currently.
Yeah. But a lot of people, it's a big debate between a lot of people. A lot of people are like, hey, men should provide for the household, therefore they should pay all the bills, blah, this, blah, that. But a lot of people like me think that it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't.
In your utopia, what does it look like?
It looks like everybody's just happy and free.
Okay, that
financially free.
That
everybody's
doesn't tell me who's
free.
paying the bills, because even if everybody, okay, let's use a completely financially free couple.
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
I bet.
What is that supposed to look like to you?
None of my business.
So why you be getting so up in arms about other people's business?
Man. It's just a debate, I just feel like money should be put together.
Okay.
I don't feel like it should be.
So if money is put together, then you're not having a conversation about who pays what bills, because everybody's paying all the bills. So that eliminates the discussion.
Right. That's the way I think it should be. Because...
But how do you determine how much is paid by each person if everybody's paying the bills? Or does everybody put all of their check into one account?
No,
what is it? That's what I'm asking. What does it look like?
So I can't base it off of anybody else. I can only base it off of how we did it.
Obviously.
And the most comfortable thing for me to do was to make sure that we have a roof over our head. Because it's been times where me having a roof over my head was a very big struggle. And, bringing in a roommate, not talking about you, but having a roommate.
Like an actual roommate.
Right. And splitting that cost still at times were a struggle for me. So the one way for me to correct that struggle is, hey, I'm going to take care of this bill.
So, okay. A lot of what I have seen is people like the big debates about finances with people living together, because I won't necessarily say husbands and wives, but just people living together that are in a romantic relationship, right? People are like, we don't split bills 50-50. That's a roommate. And even in roommate situations, I don't think that things are always 50-50. At least it wasn't when I I can't say the one time because I had a roommate in college, but that's a little different because roommates in college is literally, well, how ours was. Maybe not yours because you lived in a regular apartment, but like living in college housing, you have a lease, you pay your lease. Doesn't matter what this other person does. If they don't pay their lease, that's are gone. Them, But I pay my lease. I get to keep my room, my side of the cabinet in the bathroom, my shelf in the refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get into like the real world where there are 2 names on one line or 3 names on one line on the lease. When you look at things as being split, it's never even.
Yeah.
Even though we try to make it seem like it's even, it's never like 50-50 straight down the middle. It's always going to be one person doing more, whether it be you doing more in January, me doing more in February, then I'm going to still feel like, well, it was only 28 days in February. Yeah, you need to pull your weight. So it's just, I'm petty sometimes. Yeah. But when I look at the side of marriage, which you're the only person that I've ever been married to, and the other marriages that I have been acquainted with as far as family are concerned, because I'm not gonna go on the friend spectrum because I don't talk to them about their finances either. But from the family standpoint, it's been one or the other. Like my grandparents, my granddaddy paid all the in-house bills. My grandmother did not technically work outside of the home. Then you look at my mom and my stepdad. There was no mortgage because my mom owned her home outright before they got married. Like that was one of her things. Like she made sure that her house was hers and that both of their youngest children were over 18 or at least 18 when they got married. So for that, I don't have parameters regarding that. And honestly, I don't think that our daughter will ever know who pays what bills. Like
that's the thing. For me, it's not about who pays the bill, as long as the bills get paid. That's the most important part, is that the bills are being paid.
You lie.
What are you talking about?
You lie. The reason I say you lie is because you're like, I don't think the man's supposed to pay all the bills.
Look, hear me out. So, I just feel like today, like that's an old tradition.
But what if it happens?
It happens because it has happened before. It's like with us, and that's all I base everything off of is us. But like with us, when we first moved in together, I paid the rent. I paid the rent and like car insurance or something like that.
We had separate car insurance back then.
But I paid something like our separate bills, and then, I made sure the rent was paid and you paid the in-house stuff. But that was solely because I always wanted to make sure that I had a roof over my head. Then we got married, jobs changed. And at one point you were paying all the biggest bill that we had, which was the rent. And I would pay the in-house bill with my part-time job. But for me to feel comfortable, as soon as I got a full-time job,
you switched right back to paying.
Right, because
not that I ever messed up the rent.
Right, but I'm more comfortable making sure that I have a roof over my head than those other bills. But when I am short on something or have to pull something from somewhere else, I still have you to help out. And it works for me that way. But what I get all upset and confused about is when people say, nah, the man's supposed to pay for everything. Well, the world is not shaped that way, because I'm not the richest man in Babylon yet. You know what I'm saying? I say yet because it's coming, but not the richest.
Speak it then.
Right, got to. You got to speak these things, man. You got to see it. Okay. Before you got to believe it. I just watched a movie talking about believing.
Go for it.
So it's like I'm not the richest person in the world, and trying to find a nice place with in a decent neighborhood, Now I look for like things like for Lily when she gets older and stuff like that. But trying to find a nice place, decent neighborhood, and not spending my whole check on rent, you know, it comes to be kind of difficult. You can pay $1,500 you find a nice place, but that's all we're gonna be in. You know, that's all we can afford.
Well, I get what you're saying, because the less you pay in rent, the more other luxuries you're able to afford.
Yeah, it's not even luxuries, just things.
No, things are luxuries.
Like,
okay, so granted, right now, because of us both working from home, the internet is a necessity. Yeah. But in general, the internet is a luxury.
Right.
Like, that's what I mean by luxuries.
Okay. Like, for me, I don't look at the internet being a
right, but it is
at all.
First world problems. But I was also saying, like, we like to travel.
Yeah, that's all. Like, that's the thing is, like, a lot of people would be like, well, you got to budget your money. But if you're so bogged down with,
if you're overextended,
right? But the only thing you're trying to do is find a nice place. Like, we look in our situation now. I work on one side, and it's so expensive to live by my job. You know, at this point, you know, it doesn't really matter because I'm working from home. But
that's a
temporary thing. Yeah. So when I do go back into the office, it's so expensive to work by my job.
Live by your job.
Live by my job. That makes more sense, right? We would be put in a bind if everything was just on me. And that's the way I think of it. If everything was just on me and you wasn't doing nothing but at home, making sure Lily's okay, you know, taking care of the home, what area would we be able to live in comfortably? You know, with the debt that we have, the bills that we have, and everything like that, it would take me away from my job, and basically I would have to find another job to make sure
we'd be living in a very, 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 very rural area,
right? With maybe one bedroom.
Okay, not in the rural area,
right? Like wherever we move to, it will be not enough space for what we have. You know, we would lose out on a lot of things. So, but that's just one instance. You know what I'm saying? So I look at the whole picture. I look at a general area with, you know, somebody that's making decent money. When they say that, and somebody with a family, that's difficult. You know what I'm saying? They make it almost impossible even with daycare. You know, so it's kind of like, okay, because
people are out here paying more in daycare than they are in rent.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be that person ever in life.
So it's like for the biggest thing, I always feel like that conversation about finances, if the man should pay all the bills or should you split them or whatever you decide to do, it's between the couple. I strongly believe that it's up to the couple and their situation, because everybody's situation is different. Because it could be a situation where I could say, you know, don't worry about it. I got it. Well, I did tell you, like, at one point we did talk about, if I can double what you make, then you quit your job. You know, it didn't happen that way, but, you know, that was the agreement.
We're inching our way there.
Yeah, we are. We are, but, you know, it didn't, you know what I'm saying? So that was the agreement. But for me, that would have made me feel more comfortable with you not working.
Right.
You know, and that not working on your part was just so you could go focus on doing something else for yourself. It wasn't so that you can just come home and take care of the house. You know what I'm saying? It was whatever you want to go do and focus on, go do that.
I guess I look at it from, I mean, again, it's case by case, couple by couple, because there are some people that are making a lot more money than we're making,
right? But
they have a lot more expenses than we have.
Right.
So them in their situation still doesn't allow for them to essentially say, hey, babe, you can just stay at home. Or they don't want to let go of some of their luxuries and amenities to do that. Like, For example, I know that we've had to cut quite a bit out of our budget, having me cut back at work and then also having a child. Like those two things kind of happen at the same time. So with us having like the added expense of, okay, we have to buy diapers, we have to buy clothes. This kid is growing fast.
Yeah.
And then I'm not making the same money that I was making. Like, it changes the dynamic quite a bit. And you have to look at things like, okay, well, we used to go out of town this many times a year.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have to take away one or two of those trips. Thankfully, the pandemic has leveled the playing field and I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Just makes everything that much easier.
Yeah.
But I guess I said all that to say, like, when you look at your household, you have to honestly reconsider things. Like, we had to increase the amount of space that we needed for some projects that we're working on, just to be very vague.
Yeah.
But because we were in a townhome, and if it was just you going to work, me going to work, our lives could have been okay in that townhome. Because our lives were not working out in that townhome with the amount of space we had to move somewhere bigger because we outgrew that space very fast. Like, when we moved into that townhouse as a family of 2, and we moved out as a family of 3 with 2 businesses in the house that had nowhere to go. So when you look at all of those factors for how everything operates, like, my guess is before you get married, both of you guys are working. Mm-hmm. Because how else were you taking care of yourself? Right. Unless there's some crazy circumstances, like, you know, maybe you're disabled, maybe you're taking care of a parent, maybe you just had a big severance package from a job and you was like, I can live off of this. But when you look at all those things, you have to take all those things into account and, like, basically wrap them up in a bow and sit down with your partner and say, hey, okay, we don't need this. Yeah. We absolutely have to have this. And once we can go through all of those things, we can then figure out what's a comfortable number that we can live in. It helps when everybody, like, I won't say everybody, but when there's a home that's owned and you have a set mortgage. Like, I think if we moved to Alabama, things would be completely different because we have a home that's rent-free there that we would be paying, like, that we would be living in. But, like, even now, we have to take into account taxes on something that we're not living in. And that pulls away, I won't say income, but pulls away money from our household. So when you sit down and you divvy out all those things, I think it's a fair assessment to figure out what is paid by whom, or let's just say we need $4,500 a month to live. Mm-hmm. How do we get that $4,500? If I got $2,000 and you got $2,500, okay. We figured it out. Right. Put it all in one bank account. Like, let's just say the person that has $2,000, you putting $1,000 out of every check into that account. Yeah. The other person's putting $1,250 into that account. Whatever else you have is yours to do whatever. Right, but you handle your bills. And to go back and put the point of reference that we mentioned at the beginning, like, I believe they said that Naya was a cosmetologist.
She's a business owner.
That's what I'm saying. I think she's a cosmetologist. Like, I think she does hair. So she was saying that she didn't want to have to worry about money while she was pregnant because she had had difficulties with pregnancy before. I think when you look at that, that's some trauma surrounding that because if you've had difficult pregnancies and you're assuming that you're going to run into that same trauma again, but you're inserting a new person into your past trauma. Mm-hmm. Even though it's financial that you're thinking about, he's looking at it like, dude, like, what? Right. This is what I have to offer, and I'm willing to help out with where you can't, but you got to do something.
Well, my biggest thing is not about what she said. It's about the actual argument of a man being the one to provide, which
Steve Harvey said that.
I don't care. No, but I believe that a man should lead his household because his wife is going to look to him. Mm-hmm. His children are going to look to their parents.
And I guess the argument, because I've seen this argument in our comment section and in other people's as well, that 50-50 is not leading. We're level.
Right.
So one person needs to step out in front. So if you're if you're stepping out in front, step out in front. Don't be like, nah, you got to share this. Mama still be able to tell you what to do. You get the argument?
Yeah, I get the argument. Like I always got the argument. But my thing in it is leading and providing for the home is always going to be something that a man does. Mm-hmm. Now, on the flip side of it, I'm looking at the fact that women are outnumbering men in colleges. Women are more degreed than men at this point. Mm-hmm. When that shift changed, something changed in the household. Now women can go out and work.
Well, I think a lot of that also was that there was no 2-person households, because the majority of my friends that have multiple degrees got them before they got husbands.
Yeah.
So
that, and for me, that's expected to be like, okay, this one, like, take you, for example, you have 2 degrees mm-hmm. before you got married to me. Mm-hmm. I got 1 degree before we got married. Mm-hmm. So you're already quote unquote established as a human being. You know, as a professional, as a human being, right? But you have your degrees, and when I think of degrees, I also think of student loan mm-hmm. debt.
I had a lot of debt before you,
right? But like I always talk about our debt, mm-hmm. you know, our student loan debt, because it's ours, mm-hmm. not just yours. It's not just your responsibility anymore. And I look at that as leading, as providing. Mm-hmm. You know, taking a situation that I had absolutely nothing to do with mm-hmm. and saying, hey, and being okay with that's what we have to do. That's what we have to work on, or we have that. A lot of times what I see when I hear that whole argument is you have all this student loan debt, but you just going to be sitting at home, not using the degree that you just spent time getting. Mm-hmm. Like, I know how hard you worked in getting a degree because I did the same thing. So these people are sitting at home, not working, but have this degree just hanging up for no reason.
But what if they don't?
What if they don't? So now it's a situation where I'm out here busting my butt, providing, right? Mm-hmm. Out here, you know, making sure we have a house to sit in, the roof, you know, be what is it? Hot water, cold water, food,
all the
water you need. Making sure we got it,
like gas and water,
right? All those things, mm-hmm. and then some. Mm-hmm. You know, just because we gotta survive, I gotta provide, right? Mm-hmm. But here it is, you sitting on a golden goose. I'm busting my butt. Mm-hmm. You just going back and forth to work. So where's the team? Where's the partnership in that?
I think that we have to change the language.
Okay.
Because when you hear a man is supposed to provide, you hear that a man is supposed to do all.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not hearing you have to do all. I just want you to do more. That sounds bad, like saying it out loud like that, but that's literally what it is. It's like you hear all, and what most people are saying is more.
But I feel like most people mean all, because how can you not mean, if I'm paying the bills in the house to provide for the household,
all.
That's all
or some. But I think that okay, so I look at it kind of like in the reference point of you pay our rent, right? A lot of people would look at that as all. because you are providing the household.
Yeah.
And then I would be coming behind you and saying, okay, we got food. Let's make sure there's light. Is there some water? Let's turn on some gas. You know, things of that nature. So when you have that, that's the all. But I think that you look at, like, most people say their biggest bill is their home, which is, in most cases, it should be.
Yeah.
So if your biggest bill is your home, that is the all.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hit the mic. That is the all. So once you get the all in place, then you can fill in the cracks of everything else that you need to survive. Because you need the roof over your head, but you might not need steak and lobster.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. And yes, I do hear all. Mm-hmm. Not just, I'm paying everything. But I always looked at it as, I looked at how hard my granddad worked. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, that's an example that I have. Mm-hmm. It's not the greatest example, but it's an example that I have. My granddad missed a lot of things that I did because he was always at work or sleep.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair, your granddaddy worked full-time and had a full-time business. So it was... But
that's what I'm saying.
His was a little different.
That was his way of providing for his family. Mm-hmm. And I saw what he had to do. Right.
No, I get you. And
for me, it's like, I don't want to miss out on things for my children because I'm tired and I gotta go to work, or I can't take off right here because I have to do this. If I don't do this, then we won't eat. You know what I'm saying?
So I understand what you're saying, and I think that that's one of the reasons that a lot of women do also want to stay at home. Is because you're trading out one for the other. Yeah. It's like, it could be that only the dad is missing things, or we could both be missing things. What's the lesser of the two evils?
Right. So, no, I get you, man, but that's my gripe with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to miss out on things, but I still want to provide. I still want to do my part as the man in the relationship, as your husband. I still want to be there.
I hope you never end up single again, because you're going to have a tough time out here in these streets.
Sheesh. But no, like, I just look at that, and, it's, for the most part, we're able to talk about the things that we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. How to set up our budget, how to focus on the goals that we're trying to achieve. And that's why it's kind of like, it rubs me the wrong way, but then it's like, me and my wife have a perfect plan, quote unquote.
For us.
It works for us. And
it works for us for now.
Right.
But again, in the 7 years,
it has changed.
That's what I was about to say. It has changed tremendously, more than once.
Right.
Like, we've literally been on every side of the coin. Unemployed. Underemployed.
Right.
Making a little bit of money. You're at home. Then I was at home. We threw a baby into the equation.
Right.
So when you have all of those changes, I think that one of the best things for us to realize is that even if you go into it with this whole big overarching, the man is going to do X, Y, and Z, stuff happens.
Right.
And it don't just happen. It happens fast.
Yeah.
It's like you could be going to work in the morning and at 12 o'clock, you don't have a job anymore.
Right.
And so when you get into those type of situations, you literally have to learn how to pivot. And if you're so stuck on the man has to pay all the bills and there's a non-negotiable, somebody gonna be outside.
Right. Y'all gonna be looking sad.
I'm not saying that he might lose it all. Like, you might lose it all. Because, I mean, You never know.
But right, you're absolutely correct, and that's the thing. It's like all these factors in everybody's situation. Everybody's situation is going to be different. Every couple's situation is going to be different. So you have to take all those experiences, all those situations, and figure out what's best for you and your family, and do that.
Who you think paying the mortgage in Beyonce and Jay-Z's house?
Jay-Z probably. I mean, like, honestly, I think Jay-Z would pay that. I think they would just go.
I feel like Beyonce's like, I pay the mortgage, this is my house. Because she might want to put him out one day.
Oh, Jesus. Nah, I feel like, they work it out. Like, the thing about it is, like, I want to make sure that you're included in financial decisions that we make, and big financial decisions. Like, if I'm finna go out here and buy a $30 mask, I don't think I need to consult you on buying that
you
mask.
You have to consult me to go pick it up for
right,
you.
That's it. Just go grab that for me, please. But if I'm sitting out here finna buy a $600, $700 computer, hey.
But you know what? There are some things, like, I'll say an example is you went and spent $1,500 that I didn't completely agree with one time.
On what?
A camera.
Oh.
And I was just like,
right.
I'm not finna argue with him about this today because I don't have the time.
I mean, that was, it's some things it's just like, oh, okay. Let's, it is what it is. But I did let you know, and you did go with me.
That don't mean I agree with it. I was just pregnant and hungry.
So, I mean, like, it's we talk about things, we budget together, we make big financial decisions together. We, that's the thing about finances. Mm-hmm. No one outside of our household can tell me how we should run our household. They can make suggestions.
I don't have to listen to them.
I don't have to listen to those. But, those suggestions, you can make a suggestion. You can even argue an argument. Mm-hmm. I don't care. But at the end of the day, the two people in our household that's going to make a decision about our finances is you and I.
Absolutely.
So there we have it, man. That's it about my finances.
Are you good now?
I'm good. I got it off my chest. I got it off my chest.
Jeez,
we don't have
Louise.
to talk about it again until the next planning meeting for our finances. But if you guys have anything that you want to add or take away from the conversation, please feel free to leave a comment.
I feel like I frowned at you for no reason.
You did. I don't know what that frown was about.
I don't know either.
So we got a listener letter.
Yes. Please send your listener letters to ouraugustlovestory@gmail.com, and we just may read it aloud on the show. So today's listener letter says, I need your opinion. My husband is a college graduate and has a really great job because of his experience and his degree. He tried to help his friend, and his friend gave him a copy of his resume to use it as an example. His friend used my husband's resume and has an interview at the exact same place that my husband currently works at. Should my husband say something to his boss? He applied for a position to work on another team that my husband used to work for. And when his boss looks over the resume, he's going to see that they're the same. My husband doesn't want to look bad at all, especially since he got him the job interview. Should he say something, or should he just let his friend go hang himself? I like when they're not about relationships.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have just like that situation has never happened to me. Like, even like he copied and pasted his resume, mm-hmm. and he didn't do the job.
Mm-hmm. So it would be like me taking your resume.
I know what it'll be like.
Know what I'm saying? Like me taking your resume and then you handing it to, well, I guess you've only been on one team at your job, but like you moving to another team and you handing your old boss my resume, and it's like, hey, I know this girl named Artieka that's looking for a job.
How long has he been at his job?
They didn't say.
And how long has he been at the job? And does he have confidence that his friend will be able to be like.
He has to have
do
some
the
type
job.
of confidence because he helped him get the interview.
Get the interview?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say anything.
I kind of agree, and I say that because I have been a person in a hiring role before. So I remember at one point in time, I had like 2 large hiring positions, like two large positions open at my previous job that I had to hire for. And to be completely honest, people could have submitted me the same resume and I would never have known, because I saw so many resumes in the few weeks that we were doing our job search. Especially because people will, like, say you put the job up on like ZipRecruiter, and then you put the job up on Career Builder, and then you post it like on your actual page. Well, some people don't realize that they're applying for the same job over and over again because they're looking at it like they're on all these job boards. Yeah. So I would see some of the exact same resumes and only like pay attention if it was like a really odd name or they work somewhere that stuck out. Yeah. So I would probably think that the hiring manager doesn't notice if they're anything like the world that I was in. Yeah. And on top of them not noticing, I just hope he knows how to do the
yeah, that's
like
the
do
biggest
the
thing.
Work.
Right.
Because every company is going to adapt you to how they do things. But on top of you being adapted to how they do things, you still have to have a working knowledge of the job or the industry. Right. So if I were your husband, I wouldn't say anything, but
especially because most of the time they give some like reward for hiring somebody.
And I'm going to take my 90 days of hire bonus on my check, please. Thank you.
Exactly. I got him here. Y'all going to teach him how to do whatever it is that he needs to do. So yeah, I'm finna be quiet. If that worked, it wasn't no, I didn't do it. Mm-mm. And you can, like, I'm not going to get fired for that.
And he probably also did not like directly hand the resume to a person to say, I looked over it. But even in those instances, when I've been handed a resume, I don't look it over before I hand it to my boss. I'm just like, this person dropped off their resume here.
I always look at a resume, be like, change this, change that, change this. But I always think about how I do my resume. A lot of times, if I know that, like, a lot of times I'll work on my resume, I'll call somebody that has the same exact job. What did you put for the description? Mm-hmm. What did you put for these? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I use what they got if it's good. Sometimes I don't, but it gives me an idea of what's going on. And that could be the case, or that's how he could flip it. However, his friend gets his foot in the door, it's up to him to come walk through it. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, like, as the husband getting his friend's foot in the door, he has to show up for the interview.
He does. He has to show up for the interview. He has to sell himself well.
Right.
I just hope that he didn't put something down that he can't remember.
Right. And I hope he would bring a copy of it.
And he's not asked to talk to his resume, because that happens in job interviews. Like, tell me about something that you experienced here. Oh, you didn't work there?
Right. That made me realize, man, I haven't, like, I usually practice like job interviews and stories and stuff. I haven't done that in a while, so I probably need to, like,
I'm so rusty at it. I would probably walk in and be like, why do you want this job? Y'all hire me.
I know somebody has done that before.
I mean, like, technically, yes, I have recently interviewed because of the like recent promotion at my job, but it was so conversational. Like, when I sat down, or not sat down, but I had the meeting with my boss, it was very much so y'all are looking for somebody to do this position. You know that I know how to do the job. When do you want me to start? And it's literally how everything went. Like, when she said interview, I was like, interview? For what? And I got the job. Yeah. It was as simple as that. But when you look at it from a person going into a new company, you don't know what you're getting into.
Right. And that's the thing. So if I was the husband, I wouldn't say anything. I would wish my friend good luck.
I wish everybody well in these endeavors.
Right. And it is what it is on that.
Absolutely.
Hopefully that helps.
Mm-hmm.
So what's our quote of the episode?
I really can't remember if I've done this song before.
You probably have then. If you're thinking about that you did it. But go ahead.
All right. So this is Missy Elliott's The Rain. I know you're familiar with the song because you randomly sing it.
Yeah.
When the rain hits my window, I take an inhale, cough me some endo. Me and Timberland, ooh, we sang a jangle. We so tight that you get our styles tangled. I'm sorry. You looked at me and it made me giggle.
Would you finish?
I'm done.
That's it?
I'm done.
Okay then.
I'm done.
Okay then.
I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. I think I'm sleepy.
Yeah, probably. Well, guys, that's it. Thank you once again for listening to another episode of August Love Story, the podcast. I'm Tommy T. This is my beautiful wife, Artieka T.
Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, and like this video and comment down below like what you feel about finances in a relationship, like how they should go.
Yeah,
that's the question I'm trying to ask.
I guess so. We'll clean it up in the comments, and you guys leave your thoughts. We love to hear them. So I think that's it. Oh, follow me on Instagram at I am Tommy T the Third. You can follow Artieka on Instagram at Artieka. Easy, simple. Also follow August Love Story on Instagram. It's August Love Story, and on Facebook at August Love Story as well. You got anything else?
No. Hope you guys had a very, very, very happy Turkey Day as well, because this is the first time talking to them since Turkey Day.
Yeah. Hopefully you will.
Hopefully your turkey wasn't dry.
Yeah. Ours was not. Ours was actually good. We had a good Thanksgiving.
That's it.
That's it. All right, guys. We're out. Peace.
Bye, y'all.